So for those that don't know who Paul is, can you introduce Paul to the listeners? And we can talk a little bit about the concept and kind of the state of the industry.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Paul Potvin. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for California Fish Grill. We're a 58 unit seafood chain out of Southern California, and we're in 3 markets, both in the Phoenix and the Nevada market. And we're going to be heading to the East Coast this year to Virginia and to Maryland.
And I'm still bummed that you guys are skipping over Texas. I'm still missing my California fish grill. Every time I'm back home, it's definitely on my list.
So Texas is one of the markets that's on our radar screen. We've actually looked at it and we just haven't found the right location. So we had to pick a market where we figure we can cluster as much as we can. And the Mid-Atlantic is the one that opened first. And so that's where we're heading in and go ahead and make that our home base.
Love it. So for those that are not familiar with the brand, I clearly am, but for those that are not familiar with it, talk us through what the brand is, because I think it's really unique in my opinion. It's a really high quality product at an affordable price, which I think is part of what I want our listeners to hear, is just how amazing you can get such high quality food for a reasonable price. And a lot of it has to do with the innovation that you guys have done and kept supply chain in check, which I know is part of your role and part of the hard part that you get to deal with. So for those that aren't familiar with it, explain.
The mission or the vision of the company is to liberate the love of seafood. We want it to be accessible to anybody. And typically when you go to a seafood restaurant, it's super expensive. You're in the $25 to $35 to $45 range just to get a piece of fish with maybe, if you're lucky, a couple sides. We came out and said, okay, we want some high quality, sustainable, and that is a very important pillar in our company's vision. And we want it to be high quality and affordable. And those were the missions. And so in order to do that, we did that in a fast casual setting. And the fast casual setting allows us to take that labor cost out of that server base and give it back to the customer in the form of a great, healthy meal at an affordable price.
Yeah, no, and it's amazing. And even the portion sizes, it's amazing to me. You guys will give an 8-ounce piece of fish with 2 sides for $12, $13, $14 at times. I know prices have crept up, but even less than $20. It's unheard of.
You're absolutely right. And every day that we wake up and we work on new LTOs, we're always considering the value equation that the customer is going to get out of it. And it's harder and harder in this time, right? As prices keep going up, whether it's input costs, now it's tariffs potentially for us, which is a substantial impact to our business because there's not a lot of seafood being farmed or caught around the US that will supply the needs of our chain. And so therefore we got to go internationally. Anything that comes in internationally is going to be a significant tariff potentially. So we'll see how it all plays out here shortly. But so value is a constant equation. And so we've been talking about how are we going to do this if our input costs go up so much. And the ways we do it is obviously you can offer still the same great quality product. And for example, we introduced the salmon power bowl, which is a 4-ounce piece of salmon that instead of the 8-ounce portion. And that way we can keep the price down. They're still getting a great value, great taste, great meal at an affordable price. They can still come in and do that. So we're giving the key is to give the options to the customer.
And one of the other things that I love about your brand is the fact that you guys have innovated, not just on the menu side, which Chef is amazing from that perspective, but you guys have also put tech at the forefront of, and it's not necessarily cutting labor out, but I've got to be able to meet your guys' vision. You've got to create digital channels. I was talking to your IT guy just this weekend. He was telling me something. What are your numbers as far as digital orders coming in, whether that be at the kiosk or online or third party? It's north of 50%, I think, at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely. So when you break down our sales, funny, if you think pre-pandemic, which we all do, and then we all look at post-pandemic. So pre-pandemic, we were dine-in, 65% of our sales were dine-in and the rest was in the building. So we had a fair amount of business that was already leaving the building. And the digital makeup of that was very low. It was primarily online ordering of maybe 7 or 8%, maybe had 5 or 6% of third-party delivery. And then all of the rest of that was in-store transactions, and it was done with cashiers. And we had lines right out the door. Initially, we had paper menus. Eventually, we actually switched to a digital menu board so that we can get out of that paper menu, gave some more opportunity to offer pictures and some visuals that the guests can really get a feel for what they're going to be ordering. That now, pandemic hits, and all of a sudden we are faced with, quite frankly, some labor shortages.
Yeah. It wasn't because you wanted to get labor out of the store, it's because you couldn't hire people.
So initially it was, we couldn't hire the back of house. We were in the middle of the heat of COVID. We couldn't hire the back of the house. But now as our frontline employees were having to deal with customers and the difficulties of mask, no mask and all that stuff, we started seeing the front of house employees not wanting to work in the industry. It was just too stressful. You were worried about getting COVID from potentially the guests walking in and whatnot. So we found ourselves in a predicament. We opened a restaurant and we could only hire, I think it was 4 cashiers in one of our new openings. And we're like, okay, we got to solve this problem. And so kiosk became one of those solutions, right? And you'll go into some restaurants that are existing, and you'll have people walk right by that. And I literally had a customer, I was in one of our locations, and she's, I hate those things. They are killing jobs. And I'm like sitting there, ma'am, first of all, we could take you over here with this cashier, but understand sometimes we actually are short employees, and it's our way to make sure that guests can get through and get their fish, their healthy fish quick, and get out of the building and be able to enjoy lunch or be able to enjoy dinner. So it meets the needs for everybody, but we'll still take care of you at the cashier. So we did add the kiosk, and the placement of the kiosk was a big challenge for us initially. We were leading in, and initially we put it off to the side. So you walk in the door, or maybe it was right by the door, and people would just walk right by it and go to the cashier. So we actually didn't get a lot of traction. We were maybe 10% of our in-store transactions were being done at the cash register or at the kiosk. So eventually the light bell went on, and we said, okay, let's put 2 of them in place of 2 cashier slots. We'll leave 1 cashier over to the left and see if we can get that improved. And overnight we saw we're now on average, we're about 60 to 70% of in-store transactions are actually done at our 2 kiosks. And typically it's either the cash payer that wants to go ahead and get themselves to the cashier because we don't accept cash at the kiosk, or it's people maybe they have like a discount offer, and the period of time we couldn't accept discounts at the kiosk.
Or something super customizable where it's really hard to do on the kiosk. I know for me that when I do that, it's like I'm calling or I'm walking up to somewhere because I want something special that's hard off menu type of thing.
And typically it's also older guests, right? That aren't comfortable with technology, that would rather just have somebody interact with them, help them through it and make their decisions and move on. So I see that anytime I'm in a restaurant, you can see that, but it's interesting. So we took one of our cashiers, which would have been in the back, and sure, we eliminated 1, but we took the other one and we brought him out in front. And the goal was, hey, listen, we can create a hospitality opportunity.
Yep.
Let's interact with our guests, help them with the kiosk if they need help, and make it so that we have a hospitality. Because up until then, we were order takers, man. You had lines. You just tried to get the order in, you tried to get out. And so the cashier had an opportunity now to interact with guests on a personal level. And we found that to be, as long as we're executing that on a consistent basis, right? It's typical restaurant operations. Sometimes someone calls out, you can't execute that. But as long as we're executing that, I think it shows the difference. Now, with that said, we've been on kiosk for a year, and we found that people now walk up and they pretty much know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So asking for help is really dialed down quite a bit. And so now it becomes an interactive opportunity.
I love that. Prior to you guys putting in digital menu boards, for those operators who are out there, dispel the myth about digital menu boards, because to me, while it was a strange thing when I first walked into the first store that changed to digital menu boards, it has changed my ordering habits because I've been made aware of things that I might not have seen or didn't understand what it's going to look like. So for those that haven't gone digital menu boards, and even your guys' digital menu boards that used to be in front of the cashiers, they get me with the damn shrimp skewer every single time I was in the property. So for those that aren't, I guess, at that space, help them understand, help our listeners understand why that was such an effective thing and how it even changed some of the ordering patterns and things like that.
So if you think about it, up until then, we had just words, right? We had words on our menu, and that was the extent of it. So we took blocks of some of the screens, and if we had an LTO, we made sure there was a nice, beautiful picture, price point on there, and something about the item. And so they had an opportunity to go, hey, that's something new. I haven't tried that. I'm going to go ahead and order that. So that's on the main menu board up at the top. We also have another section where it has a rotating screen of kind of our top selling items so that they can visually see what it is. And it might spark, you know what, I'm interested in something spicy. Just saw the dynamite shrimp bowl go by on the screen. I'm going to try that today and see what it's like. Or maybe I want to try a taco today because I saw the taco combos flow by on there. And then in addition to that, so we had the main menu up above, but in front of the old cashier stands, we had what we call the shroud. It's a little, just call it, think of a computer screen. And on that featured upsell opportunities. So as you got suckered into the shrimp skewer for $3.99, that's one of the things we have on there. It'll rotate through maybe with the asparagus, which is an upgrade to the side, or you pay a little extra for that. And so it gave an opportunity again to visually see, hey, that looked really good. I want to give that a try. And so it does change customer behavior, and that's what was important. The second major benefit, all of us that had paper menus or menu boards, every time you wanted to change a price, even if it was like 1 or 2 items, you had to go through the cost, the reprinting, you had to get it all shipped out to the store get the new menu up, and they did it time with the time that your POS changed over the price points. So this gave us an opportunity that was basically controlled all by the IT department. and they were able to change menu prices when it needed to be done. All the menu boards had it. And because we integrated with our POS, if something was 86 during the day, the store can go ahead and 86 it, and it would reflect up on the menu board. So the guests knew before having to walk up and go, hey, I'll have the mahi mahi. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, we're out of that right now. They already knew that. And so they can make their decisions, and it made everything speed up a little faster.
Huge. Sorry, I'll let you finish. But that's, to me, especially in the volatility of where supply chain is at today, without it, it makes operating a business incredibly difficult.
Yes, it does. And so having flexibility is what it's all about. Obviously, it's going to cost you a little extra. We don't have a lot of scenarios where the screens break down because we all worry about that. Also, one screen's out. It just doesn't happen very often. So that is not a big risk that you really need to worry about. But it is certainly a concern. If you want to have backup maybe in the region so that someone can come out and replace that screen or do whatever you need to do. But one other thing on the kiosk that I wanted to talk about. So we found Kiosk have an opportunity at pictures of every item. And that's your next digital billboard. And they gives an opportunity for the guests to really look at it. Now, with that said, it does slow down the queue line a little bit. We found that an average order through a cashier was about 2.5 minutes. You actually put it over to the kiosk, it's about 3.5 minutes. So the guest is using that time to scroll through, figure out, look at different things, maybe choose one. No, I want that instead. So there is a little bit of that, but it gives them a better experience because they know exactly what they're getting. Now, got to make sure your food that comes out of the kitchen looks just like that because they'll hear about it otherwise.
Absolutely. So for those that are going to experience California Fish Grill, whether it's in their local market or they're in California, what is your go-to suggestion for a new guest? And then what's your favorite item?
So it all depends on what you're in the mood for. So I bounce around quite a bit. Some salmon is typically the go-to. That's what everybody wants. I would suggest you step away from that. Bronzino is an amazing Mediterranean sea bass. It comes out of Turkey. We import it in here, skin on. You get the whole fillet. So you get in 2 pieces of the Bronzino, and it's just delectable. And so it's a really good item. It's moved up into one of our top sellers. And it's at a great price point that you really, if you're going to go there, you're going to see that usually in an Italian restaurant for $35, and you're going to be able to get it for us for a lot less. That's what I would recommend. If I'm in a low carb mood, which a lot of times I am, I worry about my health and my fitness, I will pair that with our zucchini or our Roma tomatoes with the seasoned olive oil on it. And I'll also throw on an upgrade of the cauliflower rice. So I keep that low carb. So I'm out of there for less than 500 calories, and I have a complete meal.
Yeah, I replicated the zucchini the other day at the house for dinner, and the kids loved it. So that's one of my go-tos is the zucchini as the side. Those things are amazing. Awesome. Thanks for taking time, Paul. I'm excited, quite frankly, for our listeners to hear about the concept. I love it. It's one of my favorite places to go. So congratulations on the continued success.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Perfect.